With the conclusion of the 2024 NFL Draft, one of my personal favorite draft classes this year is from the Miami Dolphins, where I thought Grier in the front office absolutely hit out of the park. With that being said, let's dive right in and get an overview of this draft class. In round 1, the Miami Dolphins select Chop Robinson, the defensive end out of Penn State. Although many expected Miami to go with an offensive lineman given the struggles they faced there, I can understand the logic behind this pick, as both Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb suffered season-ending injuries, potentially leaving them thin at the position if they can't suit up in Week 1. This will definitely be one of the highest upside picks in the draft, given the elite testing numbers he had, earning a 9.72 relative athletic score. At 6'3", 254, he has the physical tools to become one of the league's premier pass rushers, especially with vets like Shaq Barrett ahead of him showing the ropes. Moving on to pick 53 in round 2, the Dolphins finally addressed the offensive line with tackle Patrick Paul from Houston. With a massive run of tackles throughout the first round, Miami had to go with one before the talent severely dropped off. Standing at 6'7", 331 pounds, Paul's an elite athlete, posting a 9.67 RAS, which seems to be a theme so far. He projects to play a tackle given his size and length, and excels more as a pass blocker than a run blocker, which is an area he needs to improve on. For now though, he's an insurance pick sitting behind Terron Armstead and Austin Jackson, but with both guys being injury prone, he could see the field sooner rather than later. For the second year in a row, the Dolphins go with a lightning quick running back, this time with Jaylen Wright out of Tennessee, who was a value pick in round 4. At 5'10", 210 pounds, he ran a blazing 4.38 40-yard dash, resulting in a 9.81 RAS, continuing the trend of elite athletes getting drafted. Wright is a home run threat, with 25.4% of his runs going for 10 yards or more. Along with that, according to PFF, he had an eye-popping 7.4 yards a carry in his final season with the Volunteers. He does tend to bounce his runs outside, which is perfect for McDaniel's outside zone system. Overall, this was a great pick in terms of both value and fit for the Dolphins, creating an even more dangerous backfield. On day 3 of the draft, the Dolphins double dip and take another defensive end in Mohamed Kamara from Colorado State. At 6'1", 248, Kamara is undersized for the position, though his blend of bend and speed more than makes up for it, which is evident from his 1.58 10-yard split time that ranked in the 96th percentile. Compared to Chop Robinson, Kamara brings a different flavor as a rusher, and is similar to Shaq Barrett in terms of playstyle, where they use speed to their advantage. One of the most productive pass rushers in the nation, he racked up 13 sacks and 17 tackle for losses last season, making him a huge value here in the 5th round. I have no doubt that he'll play significant snaps, especially with the aforementioned injury woes the Dolphins face with their outside linebacker group. Pivoting to round 6, the Dolphins get a steal in wide receiver Malik Washington from Virginia. The 5th-year senior who played at Northwestern for 4 years before transferring to UVA this past season was 4th in the nation in receiving yards, with 1,426 on a whopping 110 catches, good for 13 yards a catch. Along with that, he racked up over 100 yards in 10 out of his last 11 games, which is absolutely ridiculous. At 5'8", 191, he profiles as a slot receiver in the NFL, who can pluck the ball out of the air and get the tough yards after the catch. With their second pick in round 6, the Dolphins add depth to the secondary in the form of safety Patrick McMorris out of California. The 6', 207-pounder is a versatile defender who can line up all across the defense, as he had 90 tackles, 4.5 tackle for losses, 1 sack, as well as 8 pass defenses and 2 forced fumbles. He's an extremely hard hitter, though it is offset by a high number of missed tackles, which is an area that can be fixed. He was the one guy that I thought the Dolphins reached for, as he probably would have still been there in the 7th round or even as an undrafted free agent. Moving on to our final pick in round 7, the Dolphins grabbed Taj Washington out of USC. After transferring from Memphis his freshman year, Washington has steadily increased his yardage total during his time with the Trojans, ultimately leading the Trojans this past year with 1,062 receiving yards on 59 receptions, to go along with 8 touchdowns. Primarily playing as a slot receiver, he was the most reliable target for first overall pick Caleb Williams, having a drop rate of 1.7%, which ranked 3rd in the class. Even as a smaller receiver at 5'9", 174, he's able to consistently separate from defenders and do the dirty work in order to keep drives alive. He'll likely have an uphill battle fighting for that wide receiver 4 or 5 spot in such a loaded receiver room, but could separate himself through his special teams value as a kick returner. Overall, I'd give the Dolphins an A- grade for this draft class, as they address needs in the trenches on both offense and defense, as well as continuing to bolster the skill position group, and bring juice to an electric offense. However, there were some picks that I thought were taken earlier than I'd like, though if they had a clear plan on how to use them, then they would be perfectly fine. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought of the draft, and thanks for watching.